Here we go, the 57th country, Cuba. I still remembered when I was living in the UK, one of my colleagues always asked me, have I ever been to Cuba? So at that time, I have no idea about Cuba. I still remember one time I was in the library, and then I've just saw some information about the currency in Cuba. There are basically like two kind of currency. One, it's called CUC, which is the cent exchange rate, like 1-to-1 with 0. And the second one is CUP, which is like €1 equal to 24 CUP. And then I found out that it's very interesting, and then so that's why I decided to go to Cuba. And after I landed in Mexico, in Cancun, in the airport, I went to the airline where I booked for my Cuba flight. So I bought a tourist card, and in order for prepare for my later trips to Cuba. So I flew from Cancun to Havana. After landed, I need to find my way to the center. And then because I'm not a taxi person, so I tried to find the way out. And then there's a truck stopped. That truck was delivering veggies. And then I just got a lift by that truck driver and with some other local people. And then they dropped me in a bus station. And then from the bus station, I need to make my way to the center. So I still remember I just landed. I don't have like CUP, only like CUC. And then one local lady just gave me one for the bus. And then when the bus arrived, I need to get on the bus. One local uncle just helped me with my luggage. And after I boarded on the bus, and another local youngster paid for me. So, I was just amazed by the Cuban people's hospitality. And after I arrived at the center, I need to find my hostel. There's a white person proactively asked me if I need any help. And then what a coincidence is he'll stay in the hostel where I'm going to stay. So his name is Paul, and he's from the UK, and we still keep in touch. He's also a globetrotter, and he took me to the hostel and shared a lot of local travel information with me, like where I can get the water, where the shop will close, and some local tips. And after that, I checked in. So that hostel, I think at that time, it's the only hostel in Havana. And it was running by an old couple called Malalia. And so I stayed in the hostel, and I met some other friends, like a Chinese friend. And later on, we were traveling in Belize together, and another friend, Slava, from Belarus. So we traveled together in Cuba, and then I also visited him in Belarus later. So in Havana, I still remember when I went out, I asked for direction, and then one cute couple, they just showed me around, and they are very nice people. And also in Cuba, I was there for almost 2 weeks. I never use any internet, because actually you can pay to get the internet, but I just want to stay away from the internet, and then I get used to do that. And then when I walk on the street, and everyone will offer me like kisses, besos, but they never harass me. So indeed, it's one of the most safest country in the Caribbean in my perception. And after that, with Malalia's help, I made a trips around Cuba. So me and Slava from Belarus, we traveled together in Trinidad and Santa Clara. Most of the time I eat in the restaurant where accept CUP. The rice and beans, the pizzas are extremely cheap. And then after Santa Clara, I made my way to Santiago de Cuba by myself, because Slava finished his trip in Santa Clara. And then for all the accommodation, because couch surfing is not allowed in Cuba, so for all the accommodation, it's arranged by Malolia. She got so many friends, so I just get to stay at the local person's casa. It's very nice to get to see the local people's lifestyle and their culture. And I still remember in Santiago de Cuba, I was staying in a local family. I still remember the local grandpa, while he was ironing the clothes, he turned on the radio and then tried to dance. Such a lovely movement to see that. And then when on the way back from Santiago de Cuba to Havana, I took the train because when I was in Cuba, most of the people not suggesting me taking the train because they said it's extremely snow. But as a person who suffered from motion sickness, train is a good option for me, and I enjoy the train because I get to meet the local people, and they were lovely. They were taking care with me on the train journey. I still remember one of my neighbor. He sat next to me. He's a local youngster, and then I feel so sleepy because it's not a sleeping car. It's just only the seat. And during the night, I feel so sleepy. I just fall asleep on his shoulder, and then he never moved his shoulder. And then that was like so kind. And after that, I returned back to Havana. I was thinking to go back to the hostel where I stay, but unfortunately, it's fully booked. So I just found a guest house near my hostel, and I found one. And then I was the only female who stayed in that guest house because it was booked by a group of Indian travelers. And then, it was so funny. And then I was trying to bargain with the owner, and then they accepted. And then in Havana, it's so funny. You find out the local people while they walked by the seaside during the night. And then if they need to go to bathroom, they would just find a place to pee, like there's no so-called public toilet or something. And then also, I tried to learn salsa in the guest house. I was so bad because my teacher told me, Yin, you really dance so bad. Nice try. Yeah, so before one night before I left Cuba, I moved back to my hostel because they still got some vacancy. And then I met one German, Turkish, and a French Chinese, and they were traveling around the Caribbean, and then we got the same flight departure from Cuba back to Mexico. So I supposed to go with them, but the previous night they went out, they kind of handover, and then they told me they hooked up with some local girls, and so I didn't wait. Then the next day I made my own way to the airport, and then they too almost missed their flight. That was really funny. And it was a really nice experience, because it's very safe in Cuba, and then I love the local people there so much. And then the next time I would like to go back to Cuba and then to see some nature part like the beach and some other area in Cuba, because I seldomly been to the beach for my first visiting. And also I think because after that I met some traveler. They went to Cuba later than me, and then some of the people said Cuba is changing, but I'm glad I made my way back to 2015, and so I'm not sure if now it's changing, but I think every person has different experience, and it all depends on how you communicate and interact with the local people. So I enjoyed my stay there, and then I had a lovely time. After I returned back to Mexico from Cuba, I feel I missed the times there. I feel not comfortable with the internet and then something like that. That was really funny. And so that's my experience in Cuba, and then I really